much better. There we go. I like that better. Okay. Hello, 7th graders. So today I'm going to show you how to make 1-point perspective cubes. This is the next project that you will be doing in my class. First reminder, this cannot be done on lined paper. You must use either sketchbook paper like this, or you can use computer paper, you know, like obviously not drawn on, but you know, just regular computer paper if you want. Okay, but no notebook paper, no lined paper, no graph paper. This has to be done on paper that has no lines to start. As you can see, there's no lines on this paper. Okay, I'm going to use a straight edge again because I know some of you don't have a ruler, and this way you can see how to do it with a straight edge. Okay, when I create my straight edge, I use whatever type of paper I'm using so that I know that it's long enough. Because if I were to use regular paper, like regular computer paper, it wouldn't be long enough. It would wind up falling short, as you can see, by almost an inch. Okay, so I folded a piece of my sketchbook paper, and on the edge I put a highlighter line, and on the side edges I put a little bit of purple color pencil, just so that I can make sure that I'm lining it all the way up, and also to make it easy for you guys to see that it's lined up with the edge. First thing you're going to do is create the horizon line. The horizon line is the line where the ground meets the sky. Don't draw it too dark because there will be an area that you will have to erase later. Make sure it goes straight across. Make sure it doesn't dip off at the end. Okay. It doesn't have to be measured in the middle. You see there's a little bit more room at the bottom for mine than the top. You don't want it to be like crazy near the top because you're going to need room at both the top and bottom, but just to let you know. The next thing you're going to do is draw the vanishing point. The vanishing point is a point in the center of your paper, and that's the point that everything's going to go to. Basically, all the lines we draw are going to go back to that point. Okay? To draw your first cube, you will need to draw a square. It doesn't need to be a perfect square. You don't need to measure it to make sure it's perfect. We're going to start below the line and to the left. So I'm going to draw a line, and then I'm going to draw a vertical line. It's easy if I line up with the bottom of my paper so that I know that I'm drawing a straight line. You want this line to be at a 90-degree angle from the top line that you drew for it. And I always put my edge of my ruler or my straight edge on the edge of my paper so that I can be sure that I'm drawing a straight line. Okay, same thing with this. Line it up with the edge to make sure that I'm drawing a nice straight line. Okay, and I'm going to erase the little excess lines that hang over. Okay. It doesn't matter that I drew this part a little bit dark because I'm not going to have to erase any part of this. Now this next part, I need to draw it a little bit light because I know that I'm going to have to erase part of it. So I'm going to go from this corner, this top right corner, to my vanishing point. Okay, make sure you guys can see that. Okay, you can still see it. Good. Okay, so from there to there. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is from this top left corner to my vanishing point. Okay. The next one that I'm going to do is from the bottom right corner to my vanishing point. All right. So right now I have a cube that goes on forever, basically. It just vanishes into the darkness. We need to create an ending point for our cube. So I need to create a horizontal line for the top that's going to be parallel to your top line of your cube. And I need to create a vertical line on the side that's going to be parallel to the vertical line, the side on our cube. Okay, so I'm going to start with the top line. Don't do it this way because you won't be able to see the top of your cube. Go above your cube and come down. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Again, I'm going to line my straight edge up with the side of my paper because this has to be parallel not only to the top of your cube but to your horizon line. Otherwise it's going to look strange. Okay? The next part I'm going to do is from this point down. Okay? So I'm going to line my ruler up with the edge of my paper, and I'm going to go from that point down. Okay? Now you can see the block is formed. I can go over and darken my lines a little. Just be careful to make sure that they stay nice and straight so that it stays nice and crisp, like a really nice solid block. Okay? So now I can go and I can erase my guidelines. So the first line I'm going to erase is right here. You're always going to keep your horizon line, but you're going to erase the guidelines that go up to your vanishing point. We are going to create 3 of these boxes below the line, below the horizon line, 3 of the boxes above the horizon line, and 1 on the horizon line. And I'm going to show you how to do each. Okay? The next box that I'm going to do is going to be somewhat towards the middle. Okay? So basically right below the vanishing point. So I'm going to create my square first. We're always going to start with our square. So I'm going to put my straight edge on the bottom of my paper. And I'm going to do a straight line up and down. I'm going to put it on the side. Bring it up to where my line ended. Go over. Turn it around so that you can see your line. Make sure it's straight up and down. Straight line up. And then again, close off your cube. The first face of your cube, that is. Straight line over. Notice the top of my square is parallel to my horizon line. Okay? Remember, parallel means that if those 2 lines kept going on forever, they would never meet. They would never touch. Okay? Next part we're going to do is we're going to finish this cube. Now for this cube, we're only going to see 2 faces. Remember, the face is each of these squares. So this is one face, that's another face, and that's another face. Okay? This is a face of the cube. We're going to see the top face, and that's all we're going to see other than the front. Okay, I'm going to draw a line. Remember, I'm not going to draw too dark because I want to make sure that I'm able to erase. So I draw a line from each of the 2 corners. Okay, and then right now it's going on forever, so we need to end it. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line to end my cube. So now I can see the front face and the top face of my cube. Alright, we're going to erase that. So now I want to make sure that my horizon line is not being erased here because that seems to be losing some of its darkness. Alright. Use all my little eraser bits. Okay, we're going to draw another one down here. Okay, I want it to be over here. So, same thing. Line up your straight edge with the end of your paper. Straight line up and down. Straight line over. And the last part is another straight line up and down. Okay, and then we're going to end it with our straight line going over, and then erase any little bits that hang over the edge. Okay, so a common mistake people do is they'll put a dot here now. No, we're always going to go back to that same dot. Okay, I'm not going to move the dot. The vanishing point will stay the same. It's the cube that moves. Okay, so from this top left corner, we are going to go back to our vanishing point. Remember, not too dark. Okay, you should be able to see it, but easily erase it. Okay, from the top right corner, we're going to go back to our vanishing point. Remember, you can always pause the video if I'm going too fast. Okay. Bottom left-hand corner. Back to your vanishing point. Okay. Remember the next part. Right now, our cube is going on forever and ever. So we need to end the cube. So the way you're going to end the cube is we need to create a parallel line on the side and a parallel line on the top. Okay. So we're going to start with the side here. And I'm going to line up my paper with the edge of I'm lining up my straight edge with the edge of my paper because I want to make sure that it's still going straight up and down and that it's going to be parallel to this line. If it was at an angle, it's not going to look right. See how that would look weird? Okay? If it was going this way, it's going to look weird. We don't want that, so it's got to be parallel. Okay? So I'm going to do the same thing with the top here. I'm going to come all the way up to where this point is intersecting that top guideline and just draw my straight line across. Okay? If this line was off, it's going to look weird. It's going to look like you have a trapezoid on the top face. We don't want that. We're drawing a cube, not a trapezoid, not a trapezoidal prism. Okay, so I'm going to erase all of my guidelines. And I can always go over top of my horizon line afterwards if I accidentally erase it like I just did. Okay, and I'm also going to go over top of this, my lines for my cube, because I don't want those to erase. Those need to stay nice and crisp. Okay, but let me just go over this real quick. Okay, don't want it to erase. Alright, so now we've got our 3 on the bottom. Now, how do you do your 3 on the top? Exactly the same way we did the 3 on the bottom. So if you are now used to drawing it this way and it's going to be weird for you to draw it this way, just turn your paper around and do the same thing again. Okay? Turn your paper around and you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to start with, I'm going to start with my cube over here. I'm going to make sure though I leave some space. I don't want to draw right up on top of the line here because remember we're still going to have to draw a cube on the line and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. Okay? This cube is going to have the same amount of faces as this one. You don't need to line it up. You can actually have it go over farther. It's fine. It's just, you know, habit that I kind of line them up. But they don't have to be. I'm going to draw this one a little over from it. Okay? Straight line up and down. And this one I'm going to draw right here. Again. And so if you've got these on, you know, when you're trying to do your straight line up and down and you're used to drawing right against the edge, use the top edge then of your straight edge to line up with the top edge of your paper to be sure that you're drawing a straight line. Okay, and that'll help. Because I know it can throw you off a little when you're used to having the edge there. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing here with the side. Line my straight edge up with the edge of my paper. Draw my line across. I'm going to erase my little extra bit that I have right there. Just go over my corner. Alright, so now same process. From the top right, we're going to go to our vanishing point. Okay, from the top left, we're going to go to our vanishing point. Notice I turned my straight edge around so that I can see my whole cube because I don't want to accidentally draw it too close in here or something and have it be wrong. Now from this corner we're going to go. Notice we don't do all the corners. The reason why we don't is because our cube is not see-through. If our cube was see-through, then we would see this line here. But because this cube is opaque, okay, you can't see through it, that's why we don't draw from this corner, okay? If my cube was made of glass, that'd be a different story, but it's not. I don't want yours to be either, just so you know. So we're not drawing that. So now I'm going to draw my straight line up and down to end the cube on the side. And then I'm going to draw my straight line across because we need to have it end on the top as well. Okay? Sometimes it's really close. See how that's a really small face? It's okay. It's in perspective, okay? That's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with one point perspective. And the reason why it's called 1 point is because there's only one vanishing point. And perspective because all of the lines are going back to that 1 point so that it's all on the same plane. Everything's, you know, in the same perspective, the same point of view. Okay. So that's our first cube on the bottom. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go towards the middle. We're going to go straight up and down. Line it up so that it's, you want this line, your vertical line is going to be perpendicular to your horizon line. So it should be at that 90-degree angle. Okay, and then we're going to line up the bottom and then come all the way out to it, so make sure. All right, same thing with this top line. We want it to be perpendicular, or not top line, the side line over here. We need it to be perpendicular to, oops, look, I kind of slipped. That's okay, it'll happen. You just got to line yourself back up. Scooch over, line myself back up, and I use my finger to kind of hold the paper down there, or my straight edge down, so that it's going to stay straight. Okay, that line's a little bit rough. I might have to fix it, but go across. Look, it has a little bit of a curve to it, doesn't it? Let's see if I can fix it this way. All right, that makes it a little bit better. Erase the little excess. All right, so now, same thing. This one is only going to show two faces. Okay, so I'm going to go from the left corner to my vanishing point. And then I'm going to go from my right corner. Flip it around so you can see your cube. Go from your right corner to your vanishing point. Beautiful. So now we need to do our horizontal line that's parallel to our horizon line. If you noticed, horizon and horizontal seem to have like very similar words in them. That's because horizontal comes from horizon. Okay? All right. Or horizon might be coming from horizontal. I'm not sure which, but they're related. Okay? Now erase your guidelines. And we have our fifth cube is done. So now we need the sixth one. Our sixth cube is just basically going to be like this one, just on the top. Well, it's now the bottom, but it will be the top when we take the paper off. Okay? Straight line up and down. Line your straight edge up with the edge of your paper and horizontal line across. Okay? Same thing over here. Line it up with the edge of your paper. Bring it to the point. Horizontal line. Okay? And how we're going to end it. End our square. Okay. I'm going to erase my little extra bit that I have in this corner. Alright, now we're going to go from the corners to the horizon line and the vanishing point. So, from here to our vanishing point. Flip it around. Top right corner to our vanishing point. Okay, flip it around again. Bottom left corner to our vanishing point. Beautiful. So now all we need to do is put in our line that's parallel to the side and our line that's parallel to the top and the horizon line. Okay, so I'm going to do the horizon line, the one that's parallel to the horizon first. Okay, right there. And then I'm going to do the one that's parallel to the side. So I just have to line it up with that corner, bring it down, and boom, it's done. Now I just have to erase these three guidelines. And remember guys, this is for checkpoint 1. So checkpoint 1's not going to have any color. All of your lines will be done, but we won't have any value or any shading, and we won't have, you know, pretty much it'll just be the lines on there. Okay, no color, no shading. Okay, I don't want you to shade in anything dark, light, because we still have to talk about light source and what you're going to do with that. Okay, last cube that you need to do. the last one we need to do, we've got all 3 of our top cubes, we got our 3 bottom cubes. Now we just need the cube that's on the line. The one that's on the line is very similar to these 2 that are in the middle because you're only going to see 2 of those faces. So I'm going to put it right here, okay? So from here, I'm going to line up my straight edge with the bottom of my paper because you saw I turned it around again just because this seems to be easier for me. Then I'm going to go from right here, okay? Then I'm going to go back to the bottom of my paper. I'm going to turn it around so that I can see what I've drawn so far. I don't want to cut anything off. Straight line up. Okay, and then for the line that closes our square, I'm just going to line it up until I see the 2 points, and boom. Erase my extra. And this is the only part of the horizon line. Any part that's in this cube will be erased, but everything outside of the cube you'll keep, okay? But we don't want our cube to be see-through, so we're going to erase the little bit of horizon line that's inside. Okay, so now I'm going to take it in the 2 corners that are on the right hand side of this cube. I'm going to draw my line to my vanishing point. Now I want you to keep in mind, if you decided to put your cube over here, it's going to be the 2 points that are closest over here, so it'll be the 2 left hand ones. Okay, alright, so now right now we're going to erase. I don't want to erase the whole thing because I know I'm not going to make it go all the way across, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this, I'm going to put my straight edge right over here so that I can give it a sideline, and that's going to be parallel to the side of my cube. Okay, so now you're left with a shape that looks like this. Well, we need to get rid of the guidelines because we don't need the guidelines. And if you didn't already erase the horizon line inside the side of your cube, you need to do that as well. So inside this cube, you erase the the horizon line. Okay, so now you've got the horizon line on the one side of it, you've got the horizon line on the other side of it. I don't like the way this looks. I'm fixing the top of mine. It didn't line up quite right. I don't like the way it looked. It was higher than the side. Okay, that's better. I can just erase a little excess over there. Okay, so as you can see, my horizon line, and I'm going to darken it a little bit now because I can. I'm going to line up my straight edge with it and darken it. Now you don't want to line up with a double horizon line, so make sure you are right on your line. I don't want you to, you're not drawing a new horizon line, we're just darkening up what we have. Okay. Alright. This kind of went up a little. Make sure it stays straight. That's the only problem with using a straight edge instead of a ruler. A ruler has a little bit more form to it, so it's not likely to move on you as much. Okay. So now you see what we're left with. We are left with 3 cubes at the top, 3 cubes at the bottom, and 1 in the middle. Okay, this would get 100 for checkpoint number 1. So make sure you're following along, and you take a picture of this and turn it in under checkpoint number 1. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you on Monday.